So now we're on to chapter 2. This is skating on thin ice. So this is the hockey's heartbreaks as well. So this is the Fighting Saints WHA team quits in an airport lobby.
This is awesome.
This was
incredible.
And this is in Dan's other book that he just wrote that just came out, of Slapshot in Time. They talk more about it, how because they played at and go if you want a story like this team is loosely based the movie Slapshot is loosely based off this team. The Carlson brothers played for the St. Paul Saints, and that's who the Hanson brothers in Slapshot was based off of. But yeah, they quit in an airport lobby because they haven't been paid and they've missed their last 3 paychecks.
Well, only half the team was in the airport lobby.
Yeah, everyone else just stayed home.
Everyone else stayed home and said, "I'm done."
Yep. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the original Lane Kiffin tarmac, except they said screw you on your plane. I'm not getting on your plane. We're done.
Well, the amazing thing is this: the first owner of the North Stars, I guess he eventually took over the North Stars. He was the owner of the team that merged with the North Stars because of this whole fiasco.
Yeah. The gun.
It's like the start of the fucking downward fall here.
The start of the demise from Minnesota hockey to Dallas.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton sweeps the North Stars in the conference finals. This is the Oilers had some guy named Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky. Do you guys know who he is?
He's not too bad.
And
they had 4 Hall of Famers on 5 Hall of Famers on that team.
Yeah.
Glenn Anderson, Paul Coffey, Grant Furr, Gretzky, Jari Kurri, Mark Messier, and Coach Glenn Sather.
I mean, and they scored 400 goals.
Seven Hall of Famers.
And
Seven.
He scored 400 goals.
Gretzky had 87 goals himself.
But then the team also scored over 400. 5 of the 10 years in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and then in '88, Gretzky had more goals than the North Stars top player had points.
He had 86. That's why they call him the Great One.
Yeah.
And this one was where it felt like they said this one hurts is because it felt like they were a team of destiny because they. The North Stars they won the North Division or Norris Division, not North. They beat the Blackhawks 3-2. They beat the Blues 4-3. In that game they won in an overtime thriller in Game 7. And it felt like they were the way it's written is they felt like they were the team of destiny and that they were gonna go challenge Edmonton, and then they got swept and they had. The Mets, they scored 5 goals in the second period, and then the Oilers go and score 5 in the third and lose 5. Oh God!
Well, and guys,
what's
crazy is this also, and so the '83 draft. So the summer before this season started, the North Stars had the first pick, and their player Brian Lawton had 266 career points.
I saw this.
The 3 Hall of Famers after them they could have drafted that they missed on: Steve Yzerman, Pat LaFontaine, and Cam Neely. Yzerman with 1,700 points in his NHL career. LaFontaine with over 1,000. That's Minnesota luck right there. Passing up on 3 Hall of Famers.
God. Lou Nanny had some good ideas. That wasn't one of them.
That's not one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got it in a trade.
The next one.
And then the next one. This one's just kind of funny.
Chapters.
This is seems like this is Dino Ciccarelli runs into some legal trouble here,
It's just
and he did this in his.
What the fuck is
he did this in his Eden Prairie home, but it sounds like something you would see at a dope house in St. Paul, and
what the fuck?
He was and he's considered one of the top players in North Stars history, if not the best, they say. And there's photos of him in his front yard wearing his sweatshirt and nothing else.
Taking a piss.
Hey, you think he just got?
Yeah.
You think he just got done having some intimate time with the wife, and he wanted to go out to get the newspaper? he put a
Yeah, they just have a smoke, just
yeah, he put a sweatshirt on, forget to put his drawers on.
God.
Yeah. And he also he had a rough year in 87 to 88 where he swung his stick at a Maple Leafs Luke Richardson in the head and neck. Then he argued he was small and wasn't a good fighter. He was actually the first NHL player to ever be charged while on the ice and had a $1,000 fine. Had to go back to Canada.
He had to take a day in jail.
Yep. And he got a 10-game suspension, and the North Stars had one of their worst seasons in their franchise's history, going 1948-13.
That's really hard to do.
Oh, that's bad.
And nobody picked him up in jail in 1988. He had to go to the hotel with a reporter.
That's awesome.
But he also is a Hall of Famer, though. So you know what? Credit to him.
They got that one right.
And then Herb Brooks was fired after a season with the North Star. This just seemed like he was also part of that season with Cicerelli. He was the coach at the time, and it was just a rough year. Minnesota's own, their golden boy, just didn't work out.
How did he die? It said it happened abruptly.
Car accident.
He died a car crash. He died like a month before the movie Miracle was released.
Okay.
And then the North Stars play their final home game. They lost, and they still had a shot to get to the playoffs. They lost that as well.
That's Minnesota right there. You look a chance to get in the playoffs. Win one of your last two games. Your final game before you go to Dallas, you lose at home to Chicago 3-2. Go on the road. Can't beat the Red Wings 5-3. Eliminated.
And then and then this is just sticking their nose. The Stars owner just sticking their noses up where Dallas is playing an exhibition game at Target Center. Nobody
felt like this is actually like the NHL's idea to kind of test the waters to see what they were like up here. Like, the fuck do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, and there some owner might think, oh, let's buy a second team and move to Minnesota based on these fans are. Yeah, do that, but not with the team that just left you.
Yeah, like good God, not even 6 months.
And then it's set up too for that. Then it's set up for that same year where they go on to win the Stanley Cup in '99, and that had to be a rough year in Minnesota sports because that was the same year the Vikings were 15-1 and lost to the Falcons, and then their beloved Stars go on to go win the Stanley Cup in a different building.
Well, and even before that, they made the playoffs for the first 5 years in Dallas, right?
Yeah, they had a good team.
They were a solid team, I think. Like Mike Madonna, like they were. I think they were a pretty solid team before they left. It was just they could never figure out what they were going to do with the stadium, which has been a common theme in Minnesota sports.
Fuck you, Metropolitan Compliance people. Fuck you.
So they want to keep the Twins, but they let the North Stars go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this place went to the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then Dan, we'll have to ask him when he comes on with us that he found an old Stars jersey in one of his wife's closet that she had before they were married. He said they're still working through it. And this book I believe came out in, I don't even, where does it say? It's got to be on here somewhere. 2020. It came out in 2020, it says.
Okay.
So this is 3 years. Hopefully they've been able to work it out. And then in 2003, when the Wild finally get a team, the Wild's first season was in 2000, and they get hot. They have 2 7-game series in the first round and then in the second round, and they both go 7 games, and then they go to play the Mighty Ducks in the Western Conference Finals, and they score 1 goal.
That's hard to do.
1 goal in the entire Western Conference Finals.
You can't make it up.
And they lose. like I read that and I'm like, I had to double take. Like they scored 1 goal the entire series.
Well, guys,
Why did they ever change the Mighty Ducks name though? That's so.
I was
that's
going to say
such a great.
it's the worst name change in sports history. To get rid of that
my
name and
God.
get rid of that
It's
sweater,
It's worse than the fucking Sioux.
awful.
Yeah, it's worse than the Sioux.
Yep. And I don't know. Grant, you're our hockey czar of the podcast here. Do you remember much about this series?
I just remember watching it thinking, it's not fair how good John Sebastian Jaguar is playing right now. Like he was on his head to a whole different level. Because the Wild had plenty of opportunities. I remember watching this as a kid. He must have made a deal with the devil, which in return is why they lost that next series to the Devils, because they could get to the cup but they couldn't win it. It was just unbelievable how good he played, and just the Wild they just couldn't get anything past him. They had plenty of opportunities. He was seeing everything. It's something we're never going to see again. Just how good he was that series.
And then he met his match on the other goal in the Stanley Cup by Uncle Daddy.
Yes.
Yeah, have you heard that story?
I might need a refresher.
Marty Brodeur.
I need a refresher actually.
So apparently he was whoever his wife at the time was. It would have been he was also sleeping with his sister-in-law.
Oh shit!
I think, and he apparently had a kid with it, and like that was a chant when he would go on the road. I guess they'd start chanting "Uncle Daddy."
God, that's fantastic.
Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score.
Just because you can't score.
And then to round out chapter 2 and hockey heartbreak in Minnesota was the Parise and Suter contracts that did not turn out as they planned. They both signed identical 13-year, $98 million contracts. Parise, his dad played for the North Stars. He was a local legend. Suter, his dad won gold on that 1980 Olympics team.
Was it his dad or his uncle?
And it was his uncle. That's right. Maybe, yeah. And it just kind of put them in salary cap hell where they weren't able to get out of it or sign some better role players to help them get over the hump. They won 2 series with those 2 on the roster and just didn't quite work out. But they did give us an incredible series in 2014 with the Wild Avs. I remember watching that game in the dorm room, and there was pandemonium. Everybody was watching it in different rooms, and when they scored on that breakaway to win, all you could hear is just, and I think it was during finals week 2, everybody just went nuts.
Like, what idiot of a GM, though, agrees to a deal where, say they retire abruptly, you still owe them money, and it still counts against the cap? Like, what a fucking idiot.
This GM messed this up so bad, the NHL had to make a new rule.
Yes,
because of
8
him.
years max.
8 years for your current team, 7 for the new team. What?
Like, what an idiot.
They made a new rule, a new policy based off of your fuck up.
Because you suck so bad at your job.
And it's even to this day, the Wild are still having troubles with those 2 contracts.
Yeah.
Which is why their GM, Billy G's getting questioned stuff all the time. And, when Russo's coming at him, he goes, Russo, I can't penalize young men on this team who had nothing to do with this contract. Everybody knows why we're getting strapped. It's because this janky 13-year deal this guy made.
Does that end?
And he's not with them anymore, is he?
That GM, no.
This GM?
No, it's a new one.
No. Okay.
No, it's a new one.
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
he left a while ago.
I think it was after that 2019 year where it just everything blew up.